Hey guys, it's Mad Mo. We're going to be reading some of the depositions from this case, and we are going to start off with Jamey Heath. Okay, thank you. Can you describe for me what are your responsibilities as CEO of Wayfarer? Answer: I can. Quickly, the financial strategy of Wayfarer, what we're investing in, everything that has to do with that, investments, the way that we do our deals, where we are holding our money, anything of that nature. Creatively, projects that we do, are they in line with who we are? Are they good? The quality of it. There is more to it than there's more to it than that, but that's the basic. Also our leadership and culture. How we walk, our purpose as a company, what our goals are, and to build relationships with others. Question: what is Wayfarer's purpose as a company? We want to make art that lifts the human spirit, that speaks to things that oftentimes don't have the opportunity to be commercial. They don't have to be commercial, but oftentimes they don't have a path. To give filmmakers, sometimes new filmmakers, opportunities to make movies, to tell stories that a lot of people may not see worth telling. And as I say, my CFO gets mad at me all the time, is we want to make things that, and then it goes off. And we begin again. And when was Wayfarer founded to your understanding? Wayfarer Studios? Yes, 2019. And if I use the term Wayfarer, I'm referring to the Wayfarer Studios LLC, unless I say otherwise, okay? You got it. So it was a fairly new company, yes. Were there any employees when you joined? Yes. How many? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, around 10 maybe, somewhere in the somewhere in that realm. So were you when you were hired, what positions were you hired into? As I stated, there wasn't a particular position. In the creative world, it's just more come and bring your own creativity, your observation, your consultation, and kind of like see where what might look like. Well, at that point, excuse me. Well, at some point you became president though, right? How long did you hold that position? Until almost 2 years ago, or maybe a year and 8 months or so, when we brought on Tara Hanks. We gave her the title of president and I became COO, CEO. So to be clear, all the time at all times I was, with both titles, essentially the head of the company in that regard. They are just titles. All of these titles are ridiculous to me anyways. You see yourself as head of the company with respect to the day-to-day operations. Objection: day-to-day operations. We have an operations manager, so. And then Miss Henson. Well, what do you mean by head of the company? I just mean the top. The person that ultimately signs off on daily operations would be one of them. Our deals and most of our creative, of course, not meaning to omit the chairman, but their job is different, or their role is different. And in the president role, what is distinct between the president and the CEO? Sorry. And then it goes. Then the answer is yes, yes, he has. And then for VP of Creative, is that Angela Cardon? Yes. Has she held that position since 2023? She has. For with respect to HR, is Cynthia Barnes Slater your head of HR? She is. You know, she describes herself online as retired. Is that not accurate? She retired from, she was the head of HR of, I can't recall the company. It's like GMC or, a big corporation. She retired from that. And then she does private working HR for similar companies. So in a consultant role essentially. Yes. And how long has she held that position? With Wayfarer? Yes. As long as I've been there, so. Is she physically present in California? She is. She doesn't live in Illinois? No, let me rephrase that. Not as far as I know, but yes, she lives in California unless something's changed. And does Wayfarer have an office? Yes. Does Miss Barnes Slater work in Wayfarer's office? Not regularly. Does she work from home? Yes. Is there anyone in human resources other than Miss Barnes Slater? I know Mitz assists her in operations level. Outside of that, no. Has Miss Barnes Slater always worked at home? Objection, yes. Does she ever come into the office? Yes. How often? She does not have a schedule, so I would not be able to put a number on it. Can you give me an estimate? And then we skip to page 54, and then it says different shapes. It could be because you were involved in just developing the project, but not involved in producing. It could be because you brought some money into it. There are distributors that, if they distribute the movie and they would like an EP credit, and then there are vanity credits. Those are pretty much the distinctions. So you got a producer credit for It Is With Us, correct? I did. Why did you receive a producer credit on that film? Let me ask you another question. You were provided a producer credit at the outset of the film, correct? It was not something that was provided at the end. And then he says, correct. Uh, what did you anticipate your role would be on that film for you to receive a producer credit from the outset? As I had mentioned, producers are in the sandbox doing the work, creatively, business wise, and that was my. And then we skip, and then absolutely, and then okay, all right. But just to go back to it, I want to make sure I understand. It's your understanding that indie movies have no HR, is that right? Uh, that they don't have HR departments, that they don't have a representative on set specifically that's HR, that they don't have any human resources representatives, that typically wait, that typically there are. The understanding is that you would go to one of your supervisors, production supervisor, or the line producer, or the AD. Also, on call sheets, there are numbers of hotlines, and also you have your unions such as SAG and so on. Do you know whether there was a hotline provided to anyone who worked on It Is With Us to call regarding human resource matters? I believe there was a hotline on all call sheets that went out regarding if that was if there were concerns of any matters, that there was a line. If there was a hotline, who answered that? I don't know. You don't know who answered the hotline? I do not. Okay, first of all, when you call these hotlines, how are you supposed to? You don't know who. I'm so done with Ezra and this whole crew. I swear to God. Let me get back into this. Uh, did Wayfarer pay for someone to answer the hotline? Wayfarer didn't, but It Ends With Us would have. It Ends With Us would have. Were you responsible at all for any of the financial management of It Ends With Us? On a top level. At a top level, okay. Do you have any recollection of ever authorizing or paying someone to man a hotline for the movie It Ends With Us? No, I would not have seen that specifically. You would not. And sitting here today, you don't know that if that had actually happened, right? No, I don't know. I do know there was a hotline. There was a hotline? There was. And that bitch didn't call it, but okay. You produced a movie and your lawyers produced a video in this case. Did you provide a video in which your wife was in a tub with a baby to your lawyers to produce to us in this case? I did. Okay. Where was that video stored? You mean at what point? At the point that you took it to give it to your lawyers. Where did you get it? Where was it? I believe it was on my phone. It was on your phone? I believe so. Okay, did you edit the video at all before giving it to your lawyers? I did not. So the video you gave was the complete video as it existed on your phone. Correct. What in your memory did the video depict? It's our midwife, my sister, my kids, my wife, myself, our newborn baby. I believe we were singing or praying. The baby was crying, and then at some point we were whispering a prayer in the baby's ear. That's what you recall? Yeah. And your wife was in a tub? A birthing tub, yes. a birthing tub. And you said she wasn't clothed, but had a towel over her. The towel was more over the baby, I think, because when the baby came out of the water and you bring it up, the, then it's wet. So you put a so you put a dry towel to cover it. I swear the questions to this shit is just ridiculous. Oh my god! Like, has Ezra ever had a baby? Because I know Blake has had a baby, and that bitch. Ooh. Okay, back on track. And in the video that you gave to your lawyers to give to us, were you in the video? I am. And are you made in? Wait, and are you nude in that video? No. Why the? Ooh, no. Where did your wife give birth in a tub? Wait, what, Lula, did your wife give birth in a tub? Yes, she did. Uh, were you in the tub when she gave birth? I was. And then we skip down to page 197. It seemed in context of that they were filming and a lot of conversations happening. And so I did not think about that after that. And there's been some testimony about Mr. Sarowitz being at the set the day of the birthing video. I'm sorry, the day of the birth scene was filmed. Yes. And you recall him being there that day as well, correct? He was there later that day. I understand. But he was there on the set at some point during that day, correct? Correct. I'm going to hand you what we've marked as Exhibit 9. There's already an Exhibit 9, blah, blah, blah. Do you need this back? Exhibit 10. I don't know what. Wait. I don't know that she was in a state of undress. Did you, do you have a specific memory of the incident that Miss Carroll, Miss Baker, and Miss Lively described? I do. Okay. What is your memory of that incident? Well, this is day 2 of shooting. We got a text that morning, maybe the night before, but it could have been that morning, from Miss Lively that she wanted to meet with me and Ange and Justin and Alex. We tried to have the meeting that morning. It didn't work out. We tried to have it in the afternoon. Several attempts, and we were not able to achieve. At the end of shooting, we were at the cemetery. I approached her and said, I know you wanted to meet today, but it's getting late, and suggested that maybe we can do it the next day or something. She had said that she was going back to her makeup trailer. We could meet her there and we could have the conversation then. Not the conversation that she wanted to have in the morning, the conversation about whether or not we were going to do it that night or the next day. So the conversation, just so I understand it, was just about when the meeting was going to take place. She was hoping to have it that day, that night, and now it was at the end of the day. I was concerned about her turnaround time. So just to be clear, though the conversation that you were going to have with Miss Lively in her makeup trailer, in your understanding, was about when this meeting was going to take place. Whether we were going to do it that night or the next day. Okay, so the 4 of us, Justin, myself, Ange Giannetti, and Alex Sachs, all went to her makeup trailer, the 4 of us. I knocked. Heard some sort of come in or yes or some indication that led me to believe it was okay to open the door. So did the opposite of what the 3 witnesses said? So the opposite of what the 3 witnesses said. You asked me what? I just want to make sure I understand. They all said, they said no, and you heard yes. Is that correct? Or is that right? I don't. Will you let him finish his answer? You asked him to describe his memory of the event, and you keep interrupting him. Well, I'm asking questions as he's providing the answer. I swear, Ezra Hutchinson is a fucking bitch. Ooh. Would it be okay if I just give you my answer? Go ahead. Is that all right? Go ahead. So I then knocked. To be clear, with Justin and Ange and Alex with me at the bottom of her steps, I knocked on the door. I heard some indication to come in. As I took uh, as I took a step up, I saw that she was leaned back. I looked what I thought was either maybe breastfeeding or nursing. I said to her, "Oh, it looks like you're busy. I can come back." As I turned around, she says, "No, that's okay. You can come in, just look away." And I said, "Sure." Now, I never saw the front of her. I just saw this which appeared to me a familiar position of her feeding or nursing or pumping. So when I walked over to the side, I looked away. We had a 2-minute conversation, could have been 3 minutes, about whether or not we were going to have the meeting that night or the next day. I was trying to negotiate with her. We could do it tomorrow because I was worried about the turnaround time, and we would lose money, which is an implication. We would lose hours in the next day, which is an implication of money. We had a conversation back and forth. She eventually said no. She had to have it tonight and she would not waive any sort of turnaround time and do it off the record. So I then left, walked down the stairs out of the makeup trailer where Ange, Justin, Justin and Alex were. Reported to them she wants to do it tonight. I tried to convince her to do it tomorrow, but she wants to do it tonight. She walked out 4 or 5 minutes later, greeted us, said hello. We went into her then trailer and we discussed and had a discussion about what she wanted to meet with us. And when she came to the trailer for the meeting, did she say anything about what had just occurred in her makeup trailer? She did not. This was on day 2. This is May. May 16th? Yes, May 16th. Did you ever learn that Miss Lively had a different view of the incident in the trailer prior to her testimony? I learned that her different view is when I read it. I learned that her different view is when I read the CRD complaint. So you didn't hear any concerns raised by Miss Lively regarding this incident in the trailer on the second day of shooting until the CRD complaint? We had a conversation about it on June 1st, 2 weeks later, but not that there was a concern. Okay, so when you say we had a conversation about it 2 weeks later, who are you talking about? There was a conversation with Blake, Justin, myself, and Alex Sachs about she had got COVID and we returned to set. Oh, I swear these. No. And we had a morning conversation before we started working. Okay. So if Miss Lively wasn't saying she was uncomfortable, what what was your understanding of the reason she brought up the video? I can tell you I can tell you what the interaction was and what I inferred from it. Sure. As she came back from having COVID, and as her text and she said, wait, and as her text said, she wanted to get off to be okay, back to work on a solid track. She said to me that, "Jamey, you walked up to me to show me the video with your wife. I thought you were showing me porn." Ooh, that bitch. I said, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, really? Oh my gosh." She was like, "I know that it wasn't, but it startled me. I thought that's what you were showing me." I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." And then we moved on. She didn't say anything that it was uncomfortable. She was just telling me that that's what she thought. She recognized that what she thought it was and that it was, in fact, what I showed her. She then moved on to the next subject. This is what Miss Lively said. So you're disputing Mr. Sack's memory. I don't mean to dispute anybody's memory, okay? I can just only tell you what happened. That's not. Did Miss Lively discuss the trailer incident? She did bring it up, yeah. And what did she say about what did she say about it in your memory? After she said something about it, as I said, that she thought the video at first was porn, recognized that it wasn't because it was not. She then said, also, when you came into my trailer a couple of weeks ago, I guess, I asked you to look away, and at some point, you made eye contact with me. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that. She says, I'm not saying you were trying to cop a look. I'm just saying that I asked you to turn away and you made eye contact with me. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize that. Maybe I happened to glance through conversation. I have no memory of it. But and then she moved on to the next. All right. To BL and her employees. So yeah, we talked about that video again, and she brought it up. So you talked about the video, but can you let him finish? So we talked about the video. We didn't talk about the details of it. We just talked to she brought up again that the video was shown. Again, I apologized to her, recognizing that she was surprised by it. And but this wasn't written, but that topic was. Okay, so this bitch literally admits that she thought it was porn, and then she clearly knew that it wasn't. So why is she still insisting that this man is showing her? Mm, I'm done with her. I swear to. Ooh, okay, let's finish this. Where am I at? So no more mention of Baldoni or Heath's previous corn addiction. I don't have a pornography addiction, so certainly she wouldn't have read that, and I don't know what that refers to. So no, that was not discussed. Did she talk about Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Baldoni's referencing por- uh, lo- that addiction during this meeting? I believe she mentioned something about it. Okay, did she talk about wanting to neither her nor her employees to hear personal experience of or of other people's ex-lives, including as it relates to spouses or others? Uh, and then and you've given me a full scope of your memory about about what was discussed in that 5 or 6 hours. No, a lot of it was Ryan belittling Justin. Hmm. For 5 or 6 hours, a lot of it was. And when you say belittling, what do you mean by that? Oh, when she first started reading a couple of her things and Justin was hearing this, talking this, taking this in and trying to make sense of it, he was frozen by hearing the stuff. And well, let me not say instead of, and his reaction was that he was being a coward, that what you do when a woman says this to you and points out these things, you just stand up and you just apologize and apologize. And Justin was like, but I didn't do this. And then he raised his voice and used some language and insinuated that he was not a good guy, that Mr. Baldoni was not a good guy. And then we skipped to page 338. Did you discuss with Mr. Baldoni hiring Jed Wallace of Street Relations? I don't recall. I don't remember. Did you discuss with anyone else at Wayfarer that Mr. Wallace was being hired, what Mr. Wallace was being hired to do? I may have. Did you discuss it with Mr. Sarowitz? I don't have a particular memory of it, but I may have. I don't know. Did you receive an email outlining the work that Mr. Wallace would be doing for Wayfarer? I believe that I believe there was an email that came in that day. I only know about more recently, but I never looked at it. You didn't look at it? I did not. Did it come to you? I believe my email was on it, yes. You believe it did come to you? I believe so. But you're saying only because I've learned more recently. Okay, and then we skip to 399. By whom? By the production supervisor, I believe Alex Sachs. Alex Sachs told you that employee complaints should be brought to the line AD and production supervisor. I don't know specifically. I just know that they were saying if there's anything that needed to be, any concerns that they would report to them, that was standard protocol. That's what Mr. Sachs told you? At some point, yes. And did she say that, wait, Miss Sachs, and did she say that her understanding of the protocol with respect to human resources concerns on on an independent film? I don't recall beyond that. You don't recall beyond that. So you don't recall her specifically saying human resources concerns of employees should be brought to the line AD and production supervisor? I don't recall that. The training that you referenced, did you attend in person? It was a Zoom that I attended. Did you attend in person? The individual giving it was on Zoom, so I was in person on the computer, but he was on Zoom. You were in person on a. Oh my God! The training was remote. The individual giving the training was remote. So I was in front of my computer on training. So were you were not in a room with the other cast and crew, is that right? No. Was the other cast and crew assembled in a room for the training? Do you know? I don't know. And where were you physically located when you took it? I was at the production offices in New Jersey. In an office? Correct. Do you have any records of having, and then that's the end of that.